Hey everybody and welcome back. Good to see you. We're back with another Frostagon build. Yes, another one. Somebody was asking, you're making another one? I said, yeah, because I keep on coming up with these really good ideas. I've been watching a lot of great content creators and getting ideas. What can I do with Frostagon? How can I update it for the next update that's coming up and everything? And so I just kind of got some ideas in my head. And I'm like, you know what? One of the great things I like about the Arcanist is that the Arcanist has a lot of accessibility, a lot of ease to it, just because of the play style. There's a lot of times where you just press a couple of buttons and then hit the beam, and press a couple of buttons and hit the beam, and that's, I tell you, for people with either accessibility issues or don't want to have to worry about high parsing numbers or whatever, and just want to be able to experience the content and still do meaningful damage. It's a great way to go. And so there's a lot of those kind of builds out there. And I thought, you know what? Maybe there's a way I could do that with Frostagon. Maybe we could do something with that to give it that almost, for lack of a better word, the feel of an Arcanist. That beam is really great. And so what I did is that I kind of checked out some of the new scribing skills. I checked out a few of the changes that have been made to the Frost Warden, and I came up with kind of a game plan for us. And I think it's really great. Actually, I know it's really great because I've taken it through IA, into 4, 5, and 6. And it's done really well. I've taken it into the Veteran Vatashran Arena. I actually got a no death. I think I'm going to use that for my thumbnail. I got the no death on there, really casually going through, taking my time. It wasn't like a 25-minute run, but I ended up doing everything. It took me like 50 minutes, so it was just nice and relaxed, and I didn't feel at any time that I was worried that I wasn't going to complete it. So let's go through the build. You'll be happy to hear, number one, that it's all the same gear that we've been using. So if you got the same gear built up for my last build, you'll have it. It's the pairing of Slimecraw in medium and divines with, of course, our Oakensoul ring in the Bloodthirsty with the spell damage. Wonderful, wonderful. Then you got the grouping of our World of the Depths. Remember, I gave this whole speech about how you could use a variety of different other Frost sets out there. If you're curious about which ones I mentioned in the other video. But you can get depths and not have it be perfected. You can get a group going through a Dreadsail Reef on normal and start collecting the gear. Because the gear that we're looking at is both in light, our Frostbite is our other set, you can put it in any combination. So just get your main armor pieces in there or whatever you get and go ahead and make it. So again, still it's a combination of our World of the Depths with our Divines Enchant and Magicka, mixed in with our Frostbite. We love our Frostbite in here. Gives good spell damage and crit and everything. It gives us our increase to Frost abilities by 8%, and to chill down enemies by 4%. And gives us that minor brittle and stuff. So a lot of great things with it. So that's kind of the pairing. Could you do other things? Yeah. One of the ones that I was kind of looking at, if I wanted to kind of change it up, if I wasn't feeling that way, Pillar of Nirn is a wonderful one from a little bit of an easier dungeon to go through and get that. That's a really good choice in there. So it doesn't also all have to be Frost stuff because we got a mixture of Frost and non-Frost abilities for this build. So a little variety of things that you can do until you get this. I really think that this is really a great one as far as a casual aspect of this because of the whirlpool. It's almost like in, how like we go in IA, you get like those different support skills, the fire one, the frost one, and the bleed one, and you're like, oh yeah, I got those and stuff because it starts to do a lot of huge damage. There's a lot of melting kind of damage in there. That's the same thing. It's almost like we got one of those abilities on our build already when we go into there, or if we're just traveling around the world or doing dungeons or trials or whatever. So again, this is a all-in-one build. You can take this thing anywhere. It's really great. So like I said, fun, casual, can take anywhere. I love it. So those are our two sets in there. For the jewelry, make sure that it's in the spell damage and Bloodthirsty for all three of them. And for the staff, I have the imprecise and weapon spell damage. I like the spell damage in here. I was thinking about maybe putting some frost on there for that, but I kind of like the spell damage a little bit better. You could experiment with it if you want to, but I was liking that. And we've got plenty of frost damage going on, and be able to proc that chill ability. So, all right. So there's that. What am I using for food? I'm using Witch Mothers is back. You're like, yay! It's so much cheaper. Part of why this is because our setup is going to be so that we have a lot of resources and a lot of recovery. So I don't have to worry about light attack weaving or heavy attack weaving. The light attack weaving, I kind of just do anyway. So if you're still doing it, perfect. But if you miss one, it's not going to affect anything. And then the heavy attack is if you need to get some resources back, or to give yourself that shield, because we've got the ice staff. I think I mentioned that. Yeah, we're using an ice staff on here because it gives us an extra shield when we need it. Absolutely fantastic. Let's see. I've changed a little bit of the attributes so that we get a well-balanced thing here for our maximum health, because it's a little bit low, and I didn't want to change any of my traits and stuff on my gear, or I wanted to keep Witch Mother's food on there. So I went with splitting this up in there. I got this idea. I was watching Duma and some of his builds, he was splitting it up, and usually I only go like from one to the other. If I'm all in the match or that, I don't really think about that unless I'm making a tank and stuff, and I don't usually make those. But this really works really well, so that I can get a little bit more into my health, get that up to over 25, and then get my max Magicka up to 26. Now here's the big thing over here. If you see the health recovery and the Magicka recovery, all right, we've got a few things going to help that out: our food, our gear, our CP, and we're going to go over those. So having these up so high, again, we feel like we're never out of resources. I don't feel like I have to do any kind of light or heavy attacking for any of my stuff. I can just do my skills and relax. Spell damage, 4377. And spell crit at 46. A little bit on the lower side, but remember, we're going to proc things that are going to do more damage and give us more crit and more damage. So that'll be going through. Let's see, going through here. We're going to be using the Atronach. We're changing this up. Usually it's the Thief for the crit, but we want that Magicka recovery. So that gives us a huge chunk with our 500. All right, we love that. There's our Witch Mother's buff in there. So, all right. So we've got that and that. Let's look at the skills. All right. We're using the Arctic Blast. You know how I've been critical of the Arctic Blast in the past? Like, oh, it's terrible since they changed it. Well, kind of found a use for it. I use it as my starting ability here. I'll usually click that first before I go into battle. And if you click that before you start to hit anything, it's giving you that heal. So I'm getting a nice heal as I'm getting there, and I've got myself all ready now so that if anybody gets close to me, boom, they're going to be frozen like popsicles. All right, and so it's a great way to start out. My second thing that I do, all right, that I've got is my Deep Fissure. Oh my gosh, again, another skill that I don't really like at all, but I figured out how to use it in this instance because I've got time to, and I can line things up really nice. And the great thing about this, other than the big damage that it does in here, is that you get both major and minor breach, which, man, that really wrecks your opponents in there. It's really, really good so that you can do a lot of damage to them. All right, so great. Then our next one is going to be on our Unstable Wall of Frost. Oh my gosh, this is amazing because it does a lot of good dot damage. It also does a lot of good. If you recast it, it's going to explode each time. That's why you want the unstable one. So you can just hit it over and over and over again and have it explode, 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 and things just die. All right. On top of that, you get a wonderful shield. So I found myself just kind of standing and stuff, and you get the shield. Oh, I got the purple upgrade if you do all the scribing stuff in there. I love the purple. Looks good with the ice in there. So you got a big long dot on there. And I've got this shield from projectile damage. So I find myself when I'm keying in on a melee character, melee enemy and stuff, and things are shooting me, little arrows coming like that, boop, it's taken all of that for me. I don't even worry about it. So yeah, so I start off with that, having a nice little AoE and doing some frost. I line this thing up so that in 3 seconds, boom, it's going off, and in 6 seconds, it's going to go off later. So I don't have to cast it again, all right? So, and then I do, boom, and I do that, and I can hit it again. And I don't have to hit it fast, you know, because the dot damage is going to be there. I'm just like, it's kind of just like, okay, die. Boom, okay, die now. Boom, okay, now you guys die. Boom. And look at this, I can even go at a fairly, not too spammable rate, and you see my recovery. Oh, I got Daily Endeavor for doing that. Hey, I'll take that. But you see how, like, I'm not worried about any of my resources because of what we're doing with this. I get myself all prepped up again. Boom, I get that down. All my resources are back. Boom. Boom. Yeah. If I need to cast a heal, boom, we got this really good scribing. Boom, and I get a heal when I do that. Look at this. Let's look at that. Wonderful. It's called Healing Contingency. All right? And so when I put this in here, I choose the healing for the first script. For the second script, I do the heal over time. And then for the third one, I pick Minor Resolve. So it's going to increase my physical and spell resistance by 2974. It's a wonderful heal. Now, it's an activated heal. So what you do is that you prep, and then if you do anything, you block. All right, if I were to hit someone, it would go. If I dodge roll, boom, you see it goes off. If I hit that and I do, you know, a skill, boom, it goes off. So you can prep it as you're going. So sometimes I'm just standing, I hit that, I hit my number 2, I hit my number 3. If they're doing a little bit of damage, hit my number 3 again, some more damage, boom, and then, oh, they're doing some damage to me, boom, I'll get like that, I'll do some more damage, boom, I'm right back to full health. Yeah, it's wonderful. I really like it. So, like I said, very easy to understand, very easy to pull off, and not a lot of work. Yeah, not a lot of work. I really like that about this. What do we have for the other two? Well, we've got our Revealing Flare, which again comes from our support for a PvP, which is great. You probably have that already if you were making some of my other builds there. And that's just for, you're not touching it at all. You're using it for the passive major protection of 10%. So we're a little bit more stout. Wonderful. And then, by popular demand, where is he? It's Barry! Hey, Barry, how you doing, buddy? Barry's excited to be back. Again, I don't have to do anything. Barry's going to do a whole bunch of damage and stuff and knock down people and do all kinds of stuff. I love him. He's so great with that. So Barry's back. We love it. And it's great because I'm actually never going to touch Barry's ulti button at all. And I'll show you why. This is a good segment to get us into our CP. So for our CP, we're using Wrathful Strikes, Focus Mending to give us a little bit more health. If you want, you could, play around with that. That's kind of like my flex spot a little bit, but I love all the extra healing that you get out of that. Biting Aura, I found that that's the strongest one for the two skills that we're using for damage. And there in our Thaumaturge, really kind of bump up that dot that we're getting on our Wall of Elements. So those are the ones that I've picked that I feel like are the best. And then out of the red tree, we've got our common, our Boundless Vitality, our Fortified for our armor, Rejuvenation to kind of help, a little bit more with getting our recovery. And then this big thing, Strategic Reserve. All right, gain 30 health recovery for every 10 ultimate that you have. All right. Oh, I love that. All right, so that is the reason why. All right, if we go to my health recovery, it's so high like that. Yeah. So we've got our Magicka recovery. We've got our health recovery. We don't have to worry about stamina at all because we're not a stamina build. And with both of these, wow, we get hit with something where our health is back up in no time. And our Magicka recovery, we are not wanting for any resources in this entire build. All right. Let's see. I always kind of check, is there anything that I've forgotten here? I talked about all the gear stuff. I talked about the food. I use the try restoration potions that we get for free because we get so many of them. So I'm using that for that. Let's see. Talked about my food. talked about points that I've got put in here. We've talked about the Atronach. There's our food. We talked about all of our CP, all of our wonderful CP stuff. I'll have this all written down in the thing below, especially if I forget something in there. And then, yeah. And like I said, the whole concept of the build is to be nice and relax. And like I said, I had in mind of like, what can I do with Frostagon that's like the beam? What can I do that's kind of like the beam? Because a beam is a great skill because it goes through stuff. You know, even the flail of the Arcadus, it goes through and hits multiple enemies. And like, what can I do for that? And so this is why I've picked these two. Because Deep Fissure goes through all the enemies, and anything that gets hit gets that major and minor breach. And the same thing with Unstable Wall of Frost. It goes through all the enemies. So basically, I'm starting out, like I said, doing this, freezing enemies, prepping my Fissure, then going in, and you'll see, boom, it hit both enemies. I'm hitting both enemies here, and I'm taking them out. Resetting that when I need to. Boom, 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 boom. Resetting it when I need to. Yeah, love it. And then if I were to go like too fast because I'm too excited about something, everything like that, I could then do a heavy attack. And look at that, my resources are right back up. Really quick. So yeah, that's how this all works. So yeah, I'm hoping that this will be a wonderful build. Thank you, Barry, for getting into the shot correctly. I hope this will be a wonderful build, a build that you can, you know, experiment with. Put this as, you know, maybe an option in your armory of something to do. And it's, you know, it's not going to outparse, you know, the big parse things of anything of the Warden and stuff. But you know my builds, they're never meant for that. This is just a nice, relaxed build to go on through. And to, you know, you're hitting big AoEs, you're doing it with ease, and my hand does not hurt, you know, for a lot of us older gamers and stuff like that. I mean, this is so relaxing. I even tested it out this past week. I was chatting with my chat. I said, hey, I'm going to chat with you more and look away from my screen more and more to just show how easy this build was. And it was great. It was great. Very survivable, very easy to do all the content in the game in. And so really, you know, just fantastic. So, all right. So give it a try. I hope you enjoy it. And let me know how easy it is for you to use and how you're liking it. So, all right, everybody. Thank you again for watching videos. I really appreciate it. I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.